Good afternoon and a pleasant welcome to Freedom News Half Hour, a 30-minute news presentation from Liberia and the rest of our one world. Today is Tuesday, September 26th. My name is Anthony Phillips, anchoring this edition. Stories we are closely looking at this afternoon. President George Weah leads CDC 2023 victory campaign team to Lofa as part of his campaign engagement ahead of the October elections. Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission Executive Chairperson praises the International Criminal Policing Organization Interpol, recounts the role of the organization in reducing crimes worldwide. Liberia Crusaders for Peace Executive Director Judy Endy called on citizens, mainly the young people, to resist any call for war during the pending October 10 elections. And away from Liberia, the BBC is quoting local media reports as saying that several people are said to have died in the aftermath of a storm in South Africa's Western Cape province over the weekend. This plus many more are coming up, but first, let's cross over to the news center where Jara T. Morris is pretty seated to bring us the news bulletin. Good afternoon, Jara.
Good afternoon, Stevens. Good afternoon, Liberia. The executive chairperson of the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission has praised the work of the International Criminal Policing Organization, Interpol. Speaking when she welcomed an Interpol delegation to Liberia, Councillor Alexandra Zoe recounted the role of the organization in reducing crimes worldwide. She said the organization work resonates with the mandate of the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission. The LACC boss said she looks forward to deepening ties with the organization's headquarters in Lyon, France, to support capacity building and sharing of intelligence on crucial matters. A team from Interpol headquarters in Lyon, France is in Liberia for a week-long case monitoring and training for anti-corruption practitioners and law enforcement officers. Two-man delegation Adewale Okuduli and Richard Ivanan Angolo will discuss asset recovery, understanding Interpol notices, and investigation of cross-border crimes. The meeting was also attended by Commissioners David Wilson, Orita Davis, and Samuel Dakinan, and the Executive Director of the LACC, Moses Vavid Cole. Liberia's Culture Ambassador and Executive Director of Liberia Crusader for Peace, Judy Endy, has called on citizens, mainly young people, to resist any call for war during these elections. Ambassador Endy said politicians making such desperate and inciting comments should never command any form of support from the people. Speaking over the weekend at the wake-keeping of the late veteran Liberian musician Ase Walking in Pinsville, Ambassador Endy stated that young people who have never experienced war must not support any warmongers. She rallied the youth, mainly first-time voters, to choose peace and reject those inciting violence and preaching war. Ambassador Endy added that the gruesome experience and trauma associated with the 14-year civil conflict are things Liberia cannot afford to go back to. She stressed that war can be more devastating for young people whose future will be in the dark, using the occasion to call on parents to advance their children to stay out of violence during and after the 2023 election. The chair of the Governing Council of the Coalition for Democratic Change, Chief Cyril Allen, has stressed the importance of President Weah's re-election in the October 10 elections. Chief Cyril Allen, who is also the chairman of the Margibi County chapter of the CDC campaign team, reiterated his support for the re-election of President George Weah, emphasizing the importance of continuing in Liberia's development. The United States Ambassador near Monrovia, thus the United States Embassy near Monrovia, has clarified an emergency supplies and household preparedness notice that has led some citizens with fear and panic. In the notice, the embassy's security department urged U.S. mission personnel in Liberia to make proactive steps, including adequate food supplies at home in case of emergency. The circular suddenly went viral, with some citizens interpreting it as a warning of potential instability amid tense presidential and general elections. The charge, the charge d'affaires at the Chinese embassy in Monrovia has recognized improvement in China-Liberia diplomatic relations over the years. Fan Erwin said such progress in the diplomatic relationship is based on the shared principles of both Presidents George Weah and Xi Jinping. Fan made the remarks Friday, September 22nd, 2023, at a program marking the 75th anniversary of the People's Republic of China at the embassy in Congo Town. The lone female presidential candidate of the African Liberation League has promised a prosperous Liberia through the eradication of poverty if elected president. Madam Sarah Bachelet Yanti vowed to establish a robust system network for all and create opportunities based on the principles of fairness, equity, justice, and that's inclusion and meritocracy. Madam Yanti said our international experience in the United Nations can be leveraged to attract investments and international support to Liberia under her administration. And away from Liberia now, several people are said to be dead in the aftermath of a storm in South Africa's Western Cape province over the weekend, local media reported. The deaths include four boys said to have been electrocuted in a pool of water, local news network BNCA says. The authorities in the province on Tuesday said they were still looking for missing people and assessing damage in the province following the storm. Well, Phillips, that's the shift of the news bulletin.
Let me say many thanks to Gerald T. Morris for the news bulletin. A regular feature here on Freedom News Hour. It comes to you Monday to Friday. Stories we are following this afternoon. President George Weah leads CDC 2023 victory campaign team to Lofa County as part of his campaign engagement ahead of the October elections. Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission Executive Chairperson praises the International Criminal Policing Organization Interpol, recounts the role of the organization in reducing crimes worldwide. Liberia Crusaders for Peace Executive Director Julie Endy calls on citizens, mainly young people, to resist any call for war during the pending October 10 elections. And away from Liberia, the BBC is quoting local media reports as saying that several people are said to have died in the aftermath of a storm in South Africa Western Cape Province over the weekend. Let's take this short break. When we come back, we'll bring you the voices of the newsmakers. Welcome back and thanks for being there. Let's bring you the first development. President George Weah has described the opposition Unity Party as resting team instead of rescue team, as claimed by members of the party. Speaking during a political rally in Salaye District, Lofa County, President Weah said the former ruling Unity Party did nothing in 12 years as such. They are resting team and should remain resting after his next 6 years in government.
Now, what you see today, you say you're thanking me for building your roads because I promise you that I will connect Liberia to our neighboring country. And that's what I'm doing. I'm not doing something I did not tell you because in my own life, when I promise, I let to fulfill my promise. That's why they call me talk and do. people that call themselves rescue team, they have 12 years. And in the 12 years, we did not see anything moving in this country. We are saying to you, go for another 6 years so you can compare the 12 years from that side and you compare our 12 years. You will see that we're not just burying road because they will come to you to say they are rescue team. But I'm glad that the young man said that they are rescue team. And they are rescue team because they lost it. They had the opportunity to change the face of this country. They did not do anything. I remember in 2011, I sat with these people on the table and telling us, as political party, opposition leaders, that please, for the sake of the country, allow us to rule for the second term. We know what happened. And today, the same people are threatening that when anything happens in the election, the country will finish. Is that what we want for Liberia to finish? You see, some of us, we have never heard armed before. We don't know what they call rebel or what have you. We live our life peacefully and we want everybody around us to be peaceful. And that's why we become peace ambassadors for this country. Imagine George Manuel Weah was working in the Unity Party government as peace ambassador to stabilize the country. And today, the one our vice president threatening today that the country will be no more. It's that. But don't be deterred, young people. This is your time. This is your era. And we have to seize the moment. As I said to you, there will be no checkpoints in the country no more.
That's the voice of the Liberian leader, President George Weah. They are speaking in Salaye District in Lofa County. Liberia's cultural ambassador, I beg your pardon, and executive director of Liberia Crusaders for Peace, Julie Endi, has called on citizens, mainly young people, to resist any call for war during these elections. Ambassador Endi said politicians making such desperate and inciting comments should never command any form of support from the people. Speaking over the weekend at the wakekeeping of the late veteran Liberian musician Isaac Bukin in Painesville, Ambassador Endi stated that young people who have never experienced war must not support any warmongers.
If you have somebody you standing by and talking about war, you just walk away because you have never seen war. Because war can make man betray the son. It can make the son betray the man. And I'm telling you, your brothers and sisters will kill each other. We are laughing here today, but we'll be crying when there is war. So we must denounce war and promote peace. Peace is all that we need, and peace is what we have. Without peace, we will not be here. Without peace, there will be no community. Without peace, there will be no president. Without peace, there will be no director representative. So let us come together and say no to war. Say no to war to those that are talking war. So if you have experienced war, and you little children have not experienced war, I am more sorry for you than for myself. Because I know how to take cover. Do you know how to take cover? Don't know. So go around knocking your chest and talking about war. You understand that?
That's Liberia's Crusader for Peace Executive Director Julie Endi. The National Elections Commission has announced the arrival of ballot papers for the October 10 elections in Liberia. The receipt of the ballot papers, according to the NEC, is in keeping with its operational plan for the pending elections. Making a disclosure to Freedom News Monday at the headquarters of the NEC in Sinker, the chairperson of the National Election Commission, Madam Devietta Brown Lasana, said the ballot papers arrived in 3 categories. The NEC board disclosed that the total of 3,320,500 for the presidential ballots, 3,420,122 for the senatorial ballots.
The National Elections Commission announces that in keeping with its operational plan, ballot papers for the 2023 presidential and legislative elections have arrived in the country. The ballot papers came on Monday, September 25th, 2023, from the Republic of Ghana via the Roberts International Airport in the following categories and quantities. Presidential ballots, 3,320,500. Senatorial ballots, 3,400,000. 2,122 representative ballots, 3,403,208 ballots. The ballots are currently in secured storage under protection of state securities. Deployment of ballot papers and other sensitive election materials to the 2,080 polling precincts nationwide will commence in the next few days. The National Elections Commission reiterates its earlier information that in the Commission's continued drive to keep the public abreast of preparatory activities leading to the 2023 general elections, it will commence a weekly press briefing on the status of the electoral process beginning Tuesday, 26 September at 11 in the morning at the NEC headquarters. The National Elections Commission invites media, local and international partners and observers, as well as political parties' representatives to these weekly press briefings.
That's the voice of the National Elections Commission of Liberia chairperson David Eto Brown Lassanande speaking on yesterday. The Chief Executive Officer of the Liberia Pharmacy Board, Dr. Menmon Donan, has called on all pharmacists around the country to commit to strengthening solidarity within their profession. Making the remark at the commemoration of the World Pharmacy Day on Monday, Dr. Donan said the celebration, which calls for unity and reconciliation, should be observed through their professional practices. He also lamented that the day was established to honor all pharmacists for their immense contribution toward building a healthier world, adding that the Liberia Pharmacy Board will continue to regulate the advancement of pharmacy practices and improvement of access to quality pharmaceutical services at the community pharmacies.
World Pharmacy Day is celebrated on September 25th each year, and it is organized to recognize and appreciate pharmacists for their meaningful contributions towards the healthcare system around the world. This program is an initiative of the Federation of Pharmacists International, and it is a global program. Liberia is of no exception to this, and so we, the stakeholders in Liberia, we also organize ourselves to hold on to this important program. According to the World Health Organization, strong health systems are built on blocks, and pharmacists deliver on all the 6 blocks. Therefore, the pharmacy profession is proud of all other contributions to promoting, restoring, maintaining a strong health system over many years, especially in Liberia. In the area of service delivery, it is believed that global health services deliver effective, safe, quality health intervention in those to them who need it, when they need it, and where they need it. With the introduction of the Doctor of Pharmacy education in Liberia.
That's the Chief Executive Officer of the Liberia Pharmacy Board, Dr. Menmon Donan, there speaking on yesterday. Meanwhile, gracing the occasion, Health Minister Dr. Wilhelmina Jala lauded all health workers around the country for their services as they observed their special day. She said her office is working on getting a prescription system in the country, adding that together the health system can make an important difference.
This is a very special day for you all and for us also as health practitioners. Sometimes we miss the role of how important the pharmacy are to the healthcare system, and we want to apologize. When I first came to this office, one of the things I did, I called all the pharmacists together. I said, what can we do to make all of our lives better? We got a little bit, we made short strives, but I think there are more strives that we can make together. It's not about what we can give you, but it's about what you can give us also. Everything works both ways. How can you serve the Liberian people better while we try to make your life better? So if we look at it that way, it's a partnership that we are forming every day of our lives. When you look at pharmacy and the life of pharmacists and what we are doing in this sector, we got a long way to go. Currently, we all know that Liberia does not have a prescription system. People can just walk into any place and ask for anything. Is that safe for the people that we are serving? No. So that's one of the things that we need to work on together. We all have to work on it together. How can we make that different? How can we make over-the-counter drug different from prescription drug, different from the illicit drug? This is something we have to do. How can we find a suitable job for every one of you? Because everybody cannot work in the hospital, right? So we need to find other avenues that you all can be useful to make sure that the system is well.
That's Liberia Health Minister Dr. Wilhelmina Jalade speaking during the commemoration of World Pharmacy Day celebration. Well, if you just tune in, this is a reminder you're listening to Freedom News Half Hour, 30 minutes of news from our news department here at Freedom Communications Incorporated. Stories we are following this afternoon: President George Weah leads CDC 2023 Victory Campaign team to Lofa as part of his engagement ahead of the October elections. Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission Executive Chairperson praises the International Criminal Policing Organization, Interpol, recounts the role of the organization in reducing crimes worldwide. Liberia Crusaders for Peace Executive Director Julie Endy calls on citizens, mainly young people, to resist any call for war during the pending October 10 elections. And away from Liberia, the BBC is quoting local media reports as saying that several people are said to have died in the aftermath of a storm in South Africa's Western Cape province over the weekend. Stay tuned. We're going to take this short break to get words from our sponsor, the Crown Stoppers Liberia. We'll be right back.
It's about musical. There are crowds in many places. In every community, you can see. So if you see crime and report it, don't take law in your hand for the right authority. Really can't take care of it. Crime Stopper here for us, bringing safety to your door. Whether you rich or you poor, if you see you must talk it. Enemy you cheche, do it for your safety. If you see it, don't keep it. You must call to report it. Crime Stopper, the people bringing safety to your door. Crime Stopper, stopping crime and making peace for them before. Crime Stopper Liberia, from the center to interior. Crime Stopper, keeping us safe, they're stopping crimes for all of us. Crime Stopper, the people bringing safety to your door. Crime Stopper, stopping crime and making peace for them before. Crime Stopper Liberia, from the center to interior. Crime Stopper, keeping us safe, they're stopping crimes for all of us.
Crime Stopper Liberia is your community crime fighting partner. Don't take the law into your own hands. Remember, if you see a crime, report it. This is a message from your own self, Old Man Sam Sion.
Crime Stopper, the people bringing safety to your door. Crime Stopper, stopping crime and making peace for them before. Crime Stopper Liberia, from the center to interior. Crime Stopper, keeping us safe, they're stopping crimes for all of us. Crime Stopper, the people bringing safety to your door.
Okay, that was words from our sponsor, Crime Stoppers Liberia. As you may hear, when you see crime, you should report it. Let's bring you our next development here quickly. Lofa County head of propaganda for the Coalition for Democratic Change, Mohammed Kane, is urging citizens of Lofa to turn out in their numbers to welcome President George Weah for the launch of the party's campaign in the country. Kane noted that voting for President Weah and Vice President Joa Howard Taylor would not be a mistake, as they hold the potentials based on President Weah's developmental initiative in the county.
towns and villages, all of the districts. We were able to do everything possible for all of the districts to have a separate launching program. First launcher was one of the Sekupi College of District 4. On there follow Poto. After that, we went to Julie Fatoma. We came down to one of the Thomas Farah because for Zoto District, we don't have a CDC candidate there. So district campaign launch, and after that, we are having a general campaign launch now where the president will be present in Bonyama City, but he started already today. He will be with Moses Wakoli in the Salaye Bell, and then he'll be coming down to Zozo, expecting him to be in Bonyama City as of tomorrow morning upward. So Bonyama City will be hugely overcrowded from the 8 political districts, from the 5 districts of Lofa County. So Kwadu Bowling, Foya, Olaun, Baun, Zozo, Salaye, all of the areas are going to assemble in Bonyama City. As we speak now, people have started to arrive. Most of the guest houses are now occupied. People are moving into Bonyama City right now because of the coming of the president, calling on the citizens to turn out.
That's Mohammed Kane, the head of propaganda for the Coalition for Democratic Change in Lofa County. A women group under the banner Conscious Women of Liberia Monday staged a peaceful protest in demand of justice for victim Jessica Lloyd. Victim Lloyd was recently chopped by her American boyfriend, identified as Lucas Ritchie, in Cowell District 15, Montserrat County. Speaking with reporters in Cinco at the ground of the Ministry of Justice, the chairlady for the women group, Madam Romina Wilson, said their protest is meant to seek justice for Jessica Lloyd. According to her, Ms. Lloyd is a Liberian citizen who was victimized by an American citizen, Lucas Ritchie, and was charged with contempt, that's attempt murder. As such, there is a need for speedy justice to be taken.
Of the news we heard. Yes. We heard that doctors are supposed to be free today by 3 o'clock. They brought here to us. So we decided to gather ourselves together to kind of join the ministry in order to get redress. Because the white guys, they come in here in a white valley, in black clothes, in black hat, and white in black hat people. They came all grant to ELW a junction, and nothing came from other. Went to Penitent. Just one decided to kill this girl. After aborting her pregnancy, according to the news, he wanted to kill her to erase the evidence because he married and he lied and he wanted to marry to the girl. Because there's nobody will outside with the mothers. We shouldn't make mistakes. We should always stay behind our children. For me, my days are already gone. I'm almost getting in my late days for y'all, for the children. Don't hold on to one another. Let's be united.
That's the voice of Madam Romina Wilson, the chairperson for the Conscious Women of Liberia. For his part, Solicitor General Councillor Yanti Tuan called on the women to be calm as the government is going to ensure that justice is served for everyone, disclosing that Lucas is at the central prison awaiting indictment.
The Temtem Maida, Acrivera saw the monk order that took place. We all are saddened. The Temtem Maida, Acrivera saw the monk order that took place on Jessica. We at the Ministry of Justice will do everything humanly possible to ensure that justice is served. As I speak to you, Mr. Lucas is at the central prison and he's going to be indicted with the November term of court. You know, the court thing here is a process and not an event. When the jury term is over, grand jury term is over, you got to wait until the court opens.
That's the voice of the Solicitor General, Councillor Yanti Tuan, they're speaking to the Conscious Women of Liberia. Well, folks, this is how we like to go home this afternoon on this Tuesday, September 26th edition of Freedom News Half Hour, telling minutes of all the latest news from our news department. Current day stories we follow. President George Weah leads CDC 2023 victory campaign team to Lofa as part of his campaign engagement ahead of the October elections. Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission Chief Executive Chairperson praises the International Criminal Policing Organization Interpol, recounts the role of the organization in reducing crimes worldwide. Liberia Crusaders for Peace Executive Director Judy Endi called on citizens, mainly young people, to resist any call for war during the pending October 10 elections. And away from Liberia, the BBC is quoting local reports as saying that several people are said to have died in the aftermath of a storm in South Africa's Western Cape province over the weekend. Gerard T. Morris was here with the news bulletin, and Marlon Griffiths sat at control and coordinated this edition of the program. My name is Anthony Phillips. I presented. Good afternoon and thanks for listening.